Hello, everyone. I hope that this finds you doing well. I am here in our astro forecast looking at the astrology of the week ahead. I also have just had our astrology and the wisdom of trauma retreat, which was gorgeous, and I have been talking all day, so you could probably hear it in my voice. And I'm at the end of my bandwidth for this cognitive mind of mine for the day, but I really wanted to make this video, and still I like to have these out for you on the Mondays that start our week off. So I am going to do this. So we are talking about January 27th through February 2nd. I might be looking at my notes a little bit more than usual just because my mind is tired. And like it doesn't stop. The dynamic weeks, the speeding up feeling of life, it keeps going in 2025, and this week is no exception. So this week, of course, we are moving in towards our Aquarius New Moon, which is on the 29th. So the energy is really pulling us into that new moon. And again, new moon is always the sun and the moon coming together, in this case in Aquarius, which is entering into a quietude of self so that we can kind of set intentions, really open up and feel. And Aquarius potentially gets some messages coming through. And as that's happening, we also, this entire week, we start the week off on the 27th with Neptune and the North Node coming into the closest that we've gotten so far into their exact conjunction, okay? And they are within a degree now. And so we are moving through the conjunction of the North Node and Neptune at the final. It starts off at 27 and to the 28th degree of Pisces. And at the end of this week, we are going to have the conjunction with Venus there. So she's moving through those final degrees of Pisces all week. So that is some lovely energy that we're moving toward. But that said, we also got some dynamic, possibly shaking things up energy this week as well. Okay, so we, on the 27th or 28th, it depends where we are in the globe, we do have Mercury move from Capricorn into Aquarius. And that, of course, means that Mercury comes into its conjunction with Pluto, who is hanging out there. And that first degree shifting towards the second degree of Aquarius. And so Mercury shifts, again, that is either late on the 27th or early on the 28th, into Aquarius from Capricorn. So that right away is some shifting energies this week. We're going to have Uranus station direct this week. I should have mentioned that in kind of the intro. So we have shifting rhythms this week. So it starts first with Mercury shifting into Aquarius. So we're moving from Earth to air. So we are moving with this messenger of the gods who speaks to us through information and symbols and our own journaling and expression and art making and meditation. Mercury brings us into all these different ways that information can come through, all the different mediums, and it switches from earth to air, and that's a big shift, and it's a change of focus. Okay, so Mercury in Capricorn is traditionally wanting to help us kind of get our ducks in a row a bit, wanting to help us dip in a little bit to understanding that long-term plan that hopefully is aligned with our goals and our own alignment to earth rhythms and these kind of deeper cycles, which is what Capricorn wisdom brings us into. And it shifts into Aquarius, which is air energy, which is the visionary. Mercury in Aquarius brings us into the visions, the sudden downloads of understanding. That's what my book is about, or that's where I'm heading. I don't have any idea how I'm going to get there, even though I thought I had everything in alignment. But now I have this new vision of how it's going to happen. And it's not just that, it's a massive transformation of what we thought was happening. Okay, so even though we had Mercury in Capricorn and it was finishing its journey in relationship to its cycle with Pluto, and 28th we have Mercury come in and it comes into its conjunction with Pluto, okay? And of course, as it enters Aquarius, it's also trining Sedna, who's always talking with anything that's trining Pluto in this period. So again, it is quite a powerful time for healing archetypal wounds in our own journeys, and especially as they relate to where we're going in terms of the collective, in terms of how does my own healing path, how does me coming into a new embodiment with myself, how is that something that's actually needed for the collective right now, for the collective healing? And you have something to share. It doesn't matter if it's part of your work or how you show up when you walk into work, or how you show up when you go and you get a coffee, or it's the journaling and expressing that you do and how it changes how you're in relationship with your loved ones or how you parent your children. It's not about just it being this professional way it's how we let ourselves heal in these profound ways. And we do let ourselves, okay? That's part of it. And Sedna is there supporting our understanding of that as Mercury comes in and it conjuncts Pluto. And this is a massive transformation of our understanding of ourself, of what our own healing path is about, of what we're here to contribute to the collective as our authentic self. And so there's something that we are ready. And again, this is the conjunction. Mercury's we got a long time, okay, to fully understand what our authentic self means. But there is something that is ready to break down in how we've been expressing ourselves and how we've been sharing ourselves and how we've been using our voice in terms of really showing up with our authentic self. And we're entering into a new cycle of that. And it is deep and it is profound. And it's happening, depending where we are, the exact conjunction, either the day of or a few hours before the day of the Aquarius New Moon. So we have this conjunction of Mercury and Pluto, and then we come in to our Aquarius New Moon just before 10 degrees of Aquarius with the sun and the moon together. So this is profound insights, okay? Now, it also is a lot of energy. So we might need to get quiet. This really is, it's a new moon. It also is a lot of energy. It's not necessarily when we want to throw ourselves out there in the world. You might want to go on a little bit of muting the media during this new moon. It might not be helpful to whatever is trying to arise from your wise psyche self, from your higher mind, from your embodied self. Aquarius wants to speak through images, downloads of ideas, understandings, stream of consciousness journaling, stream of consciousness art making, meditation. That's how it wants to speak, especially at a new moon, especially when Pluto is conjunct Mercury. So it actually is a time to turn the gaze away from, especially if the media is causing you stress, and that is both news and entertainment media. It is a time to bring the gaze away from distraction and into what really calms the nervous system as much as we're able, okay? Entertainment media is also usually part of people's coping mechanisms, so you need to use the balance. So this energy is really asking us to turn the gaze inward, and that there might be profound insights to receive there. This new moon is also trining Jupiter, and it is squaring Vesta. Jupiter is in Gemini, Vesta is in Scorpio. I do have a video just on the new moon, so I'm not just going to keep focusing on it, but it's part of this week and we're getting pulled into it. And so Vesta, divine feminine healing asteroid of our inner hearth in Scorpio, that brings up some raw stuff that wants to be here and be integrated. Again, deep healing insights, okay? And the trine with Jupiter can go in a couple ways, because that Jupiter is retrograde and it is going to station direct next week in Gemini. So there, especially because it's so still, the more that we can come into stillness, the more that we might get clarity about our path, about our soul path. This is deep energy, especially with all the astrology of 2025 that this is part of. So again, I don't know how many times I can say we can come into stillness, or just inviting, even if it's 5 minutes for yourself to honor the new moon. Ideally a little bit more than 5 minutes, okay? And also, then of course that sun is going to keep moving forward. Okay, so it's going to come into its exact trine with Jupiter on the 30th, and on the 30th, Uranus stations direct. So Uranus is stationing direct in Taurus at 23 degrees of Taurus. So it is in the period before and in the immediate period after that a planet stations changes direction, whether it's retrograde or going direct, that we feel its impact most. And what do you know? That day before is the new moon. And then the ruler of Aquarius, Uranus, stations direct. So this heightens, it heightens some of the information that could come through. It heightens some of the messages. Now, Uranus, of course, is wild card energy. Uranus can be very sudden surprises. It does not necessarily mean bad surprises. It can be information that shocks us, but it can be information that wows us in disbelief because of how incredible something is. Okay, it can also be a total change of direction that we did not see coming, and it literally takes us a couple years to say, wow, that was the greatest change of direction in my life, and I never would have chosen it for myself, and I love my life right now. But it is because of Uranus works in that way as well. Okay, it's like Uranus is that higher mind energy aligned with Aquarius. Higher mind is free of the ego's trappings. The ego likes to stay where it is comfortable. Our identity and sense of self likes to stay where it is comfortable, where it's getting praised, where it's doing these things. And Uranus is like, no, that's not what awakening is about. Uranus says, we're going to change things up. So this is a week when we could be getting those powerful insights, and it's aligning with things being changed up. And so with all air energy, especially with Aquarius and Uranian energy coming through, we want to witness. We want to witness what's emerging, witness what's changing, okay? Then that sun moves ahead as well. It trines Jupiter. Again, that Jupiter is in a bit of a standstill, preparing its journey straight to station direct. When that Jupiter stations direct next week, we may have the ability to move forward in ways that we have not been able to fully move forward yet. Okay, for these past little while. So we might be feeling the inklings around there. It also might not be time to totally change directions or go forward. We might not know exactly where the path is going, but we're also getting these kind of Aquarian and Uranus information. But the thing about Aquarius and Uranus is that they do not follow the rules of linear time. So we could very much get a glimpse of something that's emerging, but it's not happening tomorrow. It could happen tomorrow. Uranus can shift our reality like that, okay? But in terms of the Aquarius New Moon energy, it's planting seeds for this next 2-week cycle, but it's also connected to much larger cycles with Mercury being conjunct Pluto, with it happening as Neptune is conjunct the North Node and Venus is moving up there. And let's actually talk about that. So then the 30th through the end of this week, the 2nd of February, because we are entering February, Venus approaches and comes into its conjunction with both Neptune and the North Node, okay? And on February 2nd, we're going to have all three of them at the 28 degree mark, and then Venus is going to move to the 29th degree. But this is beautiful energy. Okay, it is also otherworldly energy. It is not energy or experiences that just fits into the box of kind of daily life that we've been taught to think is everything and really is like this much of everything. And so it's wonderful energy as we come into the end of this week to lean into art, to creativity, to spirituality, to the goddess, to the divine, to all of these words that are juicy and we can soak them up. That is what this energy is. The North Node is part of this. You know, Venus and Neptune alone, they open us up to incredible healing, for forgiveness, for divine love, for that coming through into our own lives, wherever we have that, those final degrees of Pisces is where this is happening for us. And the North Node is there too. And so this does bring in words like destiny. This does bring in, the way that our own personal soul path is connected to this collective shift. And this shift of Neptune and the North Node is coming as Neptune is heading into Aries, okay, at the end of March this year. So this is also Neptune finishing a big cycle, and as that happens, there's almost this like climax of the symphony that is out of this plane. And so especially if you are someone that is struggling right now with your own personal grief and or the way that intersects collective grief, leaning into meditation, leaning into your favorite book, leaning into, the synchronicities that bring those meaningful symbols and messages that remind you there's so much more to this experience. There's so much more to what is unfolding than what fits into any mainstream idea of life and any information that we get through the media. Okay, so there is a lot of support. It's also powerful energy. And so whenever we have powerful energy, we've got Uranus stationing direct after it, and Aquarius New Moon. We've got Venus conjunct the North Node and Neptune. Like that can also just be an overcharge to the nervous system, and you might feel that. So you might need to check out for a little bit. You might need to rest. You might need to nap. Of course, we're in Pisces with this final energy of the week. That is dreams. There might be a lot that can get worked out in dreams, and there might be a lot of images and emotions that come through dreamscapes that, especially if you wake up with one of those dreams, and sometimes, we wake up and we're like, wow, so much just got worked out. And sometimes we wake up, we're like, I have no idea what the F just happened, but if you wake up with one of those, I don't know what the F just happened, to let the images that are strong and still speaking with you, if you have a dream journal or if you work with them in art, or you just kind of let them keep drifting back in throughout the day, and you kind of tease out some of the meanings that can exist in symbol, and they don't need to be translated into literal, this equals my mother equals this. That can really lessen some of the dreams sometimes. Usually there's a lot of different meanings going on. That said, you also might get one of those, this is what this means. And so trusting your own intuition, because Pisces is all about intuition and your connection with spirituality. So all of that is present. Whew. And that was it. And so we made it through. I am going to go rest now. I hope that whenever you're watching this, you are feeling an abundance of love of some sort, because there is an abundance of divine love. So you can just set the intention of journeying with that this week. And I will see you on the flip side. Bye.